All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. And it is the last day here of June, which means it is the last day of the first half of 2020. Normally, I'm talking about the first half of the year very differently than this first half of the year. I feel like everyone was like, can we just like Control Alt Delete and like reset this thing? Wow. The first 6 months of 2020 have been pretty crazy. I don't think that anyone could have possibly imagined. Can you imagine if we were here on December 31st and been like, all right, guys, here's what's about to go down. I don't think anybody probably could have anticipated this, but as we were heading into the second half here of 2020 and looking at some of the things. So first of all, Tuesday mornings, very important, always a good idea. Logging into your back office. It's the beginning of a new week. So where are you at? What do you need? What are the points that you're looking for? What is it you need? We have our Discover Secret promotion really rocking. We have our agent destination trip, and you get 25 points for each person that you are signing up and moving through mission 1, mission 2, mission 3. Guys, that is the trip. We got it. We literally have to celebrate. We deserve to be in Hawaii together. So we want to make sure that everybody gets there to Hawaii and having fun with us in the sand. So, but what I want to do here this morning is talk a little bit, because I had been having quite a few meetings with a couple of organizations that I've been working with in Seacret for a little bit of time, as well as an organization with Japan. And I had a couple of interesting conversations come up when it came to really kind of the mindset goal setting as we're going through this. So some of you guys now have been with Seacret now for a few months. And what ends up happening is, I know as we start kind of going through our journey, start going through our process, we really look at what changes the kind of the energy level that goes into our business. So I want you to kind of write this down. Just write this down in your notes. Is what is my energy level? So just kind of start. That's the topic. Energy levels. I don't know what. Yeah, doesn't really have a good topic. I'm sorry. So just write down my energy levels. And what I want you to think about is when you think about your business. Okay. All right. When you think about your business, does your energy tend to go up? Does it tend to go down? Does it tend to stay neutral? Where do you find yourself when it comes to thinking about your business? And what I found is that a lot of the times is that when people are in the goal setting process and where they're looking and where they're thinking, there was an interesting study that was done, and it was a peer review, and I wish I could find the article because it was 15 years ago that I read this study, but I'll give you the gist of it, and I don't know it exactly, but I remember the concept of it. But if you want to write this down, we have, I'm going to see if I can pull up my screen here. Ta-da, ta-da, not that one. Ta-da, ready, set, go. Okay. So inside of all of our businesses, so we have a present, okay? We have a future, and we have a past, all right? So this is one of the reasons why in the very beginning of our business, generally speaking, when new people get started inside of their Seacret business, they're usually generally very excited. They can be nervous, but nervous is just kind of another form of excitement. Usually when you really break it down what it is chemically in our brains, all right? But when it comes to present, future, past, all these different things. So when you get started inside of your business in the present tense, you really don't have a past of your Seacret business. And every day that goes by inside of your business, you start developing a past. I've been in Seacret. If you're in Seacret brand new, just signed up today, you don't have a past of Seacret. And every day you have a week now, you've been in a month, you've been in a year, you have something to look back on, something to look reflective on. And one of the things that this study did a long time ago was it looked at the difference between the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. And it was determining how much of their thought process was going into different areas or different thought patterns in terms of time. And I found it very fascinating because I think it's one of the things that I see agents fall into somewhere as they get into the business, somewhere around this 90-day mark or even 6-month mark. And I know that some of you guys might be in this or thinking about it. And I think it's important, especially as a coach, as you're coaching people through developing their business. And some will say, well, you just need to develop thick skin, or you need to develop an attitude, a winning attitude or courage. And I do believe in those things. But sometimes a big portion of my career has been learning how to kind of redirect focus. And so if you had to guess from the lower class, the majority of their thoughts, the majority of their conversations, the lower class of this study that was done, do you think it was about the past, the present, or the future? You had to guess, right? The past, right? So the lower class, and this was talking about income specifically. It was talking about income. So the lower class, the majority of their conversations was focused on past, right? What should have happened, where they should have been, things that should have changed, right? There was a lack of kind of taking ownership, taking responsibility for things, but a lot of the conversations were about the past. The middle class, if you can probably see where this is going, the middle class, a lot of their conversation was focused on the present. What's happening now? What's going on in current events? What are we going to do about this? Where are we going this weekend? Where is, what's your plans for, summer? It was, if it was really more so what was happening in the now. And then when they really looked at the upper, okay, the upper class, what they were looking at in terms of finances, what they were looking at was that they spent a lot of their conversation, a lot of their talk on future. So they were talking about the future, thinking about the future a lot. But the thing that I found the most fascinating by this, I don't think this is a shocker to anybody, is when they broke it down into three categories of the upper class. So they broke it down of the lower of the upper, the middle of the upper, and the upper of the upper. So they took the upper class and they subdivided into three categories based on their wealth. And what they started looking at is, well, how far into the future were they really looking? And I found this super fascinating. So what they were looking at is that the upper was really looking for somewhere about 1 to 5 years in the future. So the lower on the upper side, they were looking at, okay, what are we going to do next year? Where are we going to be next year? The middle of the upper, they were somewhere between about 5 to 10 years. These were like that 5 to 10 years. They were looking out kind of into the future, trying to project where they were going to be, what things were going to be like, what they could do, how they could make adjustments, how they could pivot, how they could be ahead of the competition, how they could prepare, how they could save. Because if you're looking at present, so if you're only looking at the present, this was one of the biggest things when they were talking about why we live in a country of debt. Why do people buy things that they can't really afford, right? That they don't have the money for, and they put it on credit and they put it on borrowing it, whether it be, it doesn't matter what it is. And not necessarily speaking for so much for home, although a lot of people usually stretch on that, but and a car or furniture or things like that, is because they're not as concerned about this. They're more concerned about this, right? And these people, it was 5 to 10 years out. Now the upper, how far were they thinking? Anybody know? Some people say, well, 10 to 20, something like that. And they were actually, interestingly enough, it was next generation. They actually weren't even thinking about their own generation. So it was about usually their kids, is what was the next step of passing this down, paying it forward. It was not even of their lifetime. And when I remembered this, it made me think of the Ben Shabbat family and them thinking about the next generation. And Isaac talking about creating this global wealthy community and what they were really looking to develop, and how him being just a part of creating that. And many of the people that created so many of the things that today that we are amazed by, we are impressed by, our lives have been, are better by, is from people that did things that weren't even necessarily impacted by their own generation or even while they were alive. And not saying that I don't want you to experience the fruits of your labor and to be able to get some things like this, but this is an interesting conversation of thinking from past, present, and future. And so what happens generally inside of the business for us is, oops, that is not the right word. So is present, okay, past, future. So when I'm working with a new agent coming into the business, this is one of the reasons why they say new blood is the lifeblood of your business. new blood of the lifeblood of your business, because new people don't have a past to reflect on, to start thinking in a whatever sense, right? So inside of our business, I want you to think about this real quickly. Do me a favor. I want you to look at the wall to your right. Now, if you're driving, probably don't do this exercise. All right. So, but look to the wall to your right. And I just want you to look at that wall. And I want you to picture, don't look at me, look at the wall. All right. You can hear me and look at the wall. So I want you to picture on that wall, I want you to visualize everything you've ever wanted to do, own, have, create, experiences on that wall. The finances, the time, the body, the spouse, the kids, everything that you want is over there. It's like, oh man, it's everything that you want is over there. Can you guys see it? I'm hoping that's a yes. Can you see it? And you're like, well, can you see some of it? Can you see most of it, right? So everything I want on that wall. Okay, cool. Look at me again. All right, now I want you to look at the opposite wall, the left wall in your place. And I want you to look at that wall. And I want you to picture everything on that wall is everything that you don't want. I'm talking about like a career that just sucks the soul out of you, you know, just piles of debt and bill collectors, poor relationship with your family and friends and your spouse. We're talking no travel, no fun, no passion. We're talking just like, like like this one doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good to look at. Some of you guys have probably already closed your eyes at this point. You're just like, no, right? Okay, come look at me. Everything you want on this wall. Okay, look one more time. Look at everything you want. Look at everything you want. Everything you want over there. Okay, now look at the other wall. Everything you don't want. Perfect. Look over there. Okay, now look at me. Now look at both at the same time. Can't do it. Can't do it, people. You can't. You can't focus your attention on all the things you want and all the things you don't want simultaneously. You just can't do it. You're focused. That's why they say clarity is power. Focus, okay? And so it's not hocus pocus, it's focus. Cliche, but silly. But when we're talking about what we're focused on and what we're directing our focus, directing our attention to, what we have our attention geared towards, is it geared towards what of these things? Is it past? Is it present? Is it future? So when I am coaching a new agent, especially somebody that has hit a leadership rank or they're building inside of their business, I can tell based on the energy level. This is why I started this with where's your energy at? If your energy has dropped in your business, it's because your focus has dropped in your business. What you're focusing on has altered. And in the beginning, people are excited because they're focused on their future. There is no past. That's why it's easier for people when they're new. But as you develop time inside of the business, if you've been in for a year, what tends to happen is people start thinking about their future and immediately redirect towards their past. And what they're doing is they're literally trying to take a past and stick it in their future. Because what's available really in the future is anything you want to create. Anything, if you want anything you want to learn, anything you want to do, anything you want to create, anything you want to create inside of your future is available. The only reason why it gets muddied down is if you're painting on the canvas that is bringing all of your past into it. And it's like, I see people like, it's kind of like you're trying to drive looking through the rear view mirror and they're wondering why you're crashing. Or have you ever seen somebody riding a horse backwards? That doesn't really work very well. So if you want to direct the focus of where it is that you're going, is to focus on that future. And what tends to happen is this. People say, okay, all right, I'm going to focus on my future again. And they focus on the future and then they go, but I should be further by now. And a conversation of should, I want you to think about this in your notes. I want you to write this down, is the word should. Should. Please write this down in your notes. Okay. So this word is such a powerful word. Oh, man. So anytime you have should in your conversation, and I don't mean in your outward conversation, this is more your internal dialogue. Because you guys get it. It's not really the enemy. It's the inner me that will be your biggest fight on this thing, right? Because you all know you talk to yourself. You all know you talk to yourself, right? Yes. Yeah. Some of you guys are like, do I talk to myself? Like, that's the one. Like, that you guys, it's like, how many of you have a whole committee going on up there pretty much at all times, right? And so this word is one of the ones I want you to be incredibly careful for. And I want you to start catching yourself. I want you to start seeing when you actually take a second to cognizant, I can't even say this word. So anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. Consciously, let's just say consciously. It's not the word, but it was close enough. Consciously start thinking about your future. When you're consciously taking time to start thinking about your future and you're directing your focus in there, anytime should comes into the conversation, should is immediately, I want you to visualize someone pushing your head backwards, right? So it's going like this is, but, you know, so, and oh, this is another one, but, oh yeah, oh, should, but, those are good ones. So how many of you have ever had the feeling of, I should be further by now, right? I should be this. I should have gotten promoted by now. I should, right? I should have gotten this. I should have gotten this. And what happens is people just should all over themselves. And there's no energy inside of this should conversation, because anytime there's a should involved, you're not dealing with reality. What you're focused on is the past. And anytime you're focused on the past, it's very difficult to impact your future. So, because who you are in the present, so who you're going to be in the moment is not really based on your present, it's based on your focus. So this is a big conversation. If you want to get your energy up, so this conversation should have been titled, What's Your Focus, not What's Your Energy. See, but we get there eventually. So is redirecting focus. And this is something that you're going to have to get really good at between you and your business and your team at all times. It's also something that you're going to be really good at if you can take a look at, how many of you guys are parents out there, right? So parents, raise your hand. So parents, you guys are great at this, right? So when a kid gets usually really upset, what they end up doing is they're focusing on a different direction. What we want to do is we want to shift their focus into a different direction. So if you want to change your behavior, change your feeling, change is to redirect focus. Sometimes we're going to do that with our physiology. Sometimes we're going to do that with our questions. Sometimes we're going to do that by asking questions to ourselves. But I want you to think about this is everything you want on this wall. You guys remember? So this is future. I want you to think about future. Everything you don't want, past. I'm not saying your past is not something that you want. The thing is this, your past can't change anything about where we're going right now. So what I'm doing all the time is when I hear and I listen to somebody that I'm coaching inside of the business, here's what I'm listening for. What is the predominant focus of the conversation? Is it things that they're excited about, where they're going, what they're building, what they're doing? And what I mean by that is I got this woman, and if she comes on board, she's going to be able to do this and she's going to be able to do that. And it's focused on the future. Is their conversation focused on the present? So if the conversation is focused on the present, meaning, so, all right, here's what I got to get done today. Here's what I got to get done today. Like these types of got to get done things are a lot of times that kind of to-do list. But it's really uninspired if it's really focused just on the present. Now, present is a bad place to focus but present usually will be you're maintaining in your business. And then when I run across the person who their energy has dropped and they're focused on, well, man, I should have been here by now. I got this and then there was Sam, she joined, but she didn't end up doing anything. Right. And I got these people and I've just talked to so many of them, but not really many of them are getting it. What they're doing is they're recalling things from the past. What they're doing is their focus is everything from the past that maybe they didn't like, things that they think should have been different, because generally speaking, when they're pulling from the past, they're not pulling from positive. And then the comparison game starts to come up and play, which is, oh man, I should be further. So anytime you're hearing this should, I want you to just kind of like do a little dance, do a little jig, and just be like, so, and then just like shake it off. I don't know, some Taylor Swift stuff, or whatever you got to do to literally dust that off and go, nope. And learning to redirect focus. And I want you to physically do this. So everyone look at the wall that you want. Everyone look at the wall that you want. And I want you to creep your way back to the stuff that you don't want. And I want you to physically grab your head and go, nope, back this way. And wait, do it again. Do it again, do it again, do it again. And nope, back this way. And physically, that is what I'm telling you, pretty much the vast majority of training and coaching that I do inside of our business is not what to do. Most of you know what to do. So if we stop literally and go, what do? We're gonna show people Seacret. And then what are we gonna do tomorrow? We're going to show more people Seacret. Some of those people are going to get it and some are not. We're going to need to sort through the deck to find our aces. We're not here to convince. That's not what professionals do. And we are professionals here with social networking professionals here at Team Elite. So what we're going to be doing constantly is redirecting focus. We're going to be redirecting focus from past, present to future. So when we originally started kind of this goal setting process and looking at the development inside of our business, one of the things that I had you write down is a master dream list. That master dream list was initially to give you guys some focus, to get you focused on your future, to get you focused in that direction. What is that goal setting process? If you looked at the goal setting process we went through, it's forward thinking motion. And I am not here to say that we're going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make a million mistakes. So are you. We're all human beings. This isn't about perfection. This is about progress. And a big focus of mine is making sure that we are focusing our energy, focusing our talents, focusing our focus in the right direction. So as that continues to go, so I want you to take a second. If you're ever feeling a little bit of this overwhelm, you're feeling an energy drop inside of your business, it's just redirecting focus. So when you're working with a new agent and you're feeling a little bit of that, you're feeling a little bit of that, right? Generally speaking, the vast majority of that is they're focused on the past. They're not focused on the future. And that is a leader's job, is to help them redirect that focus, to get that energy back, to get that little pep in their step on what they're doing. And a big focus on it we're talking about is focusing on activities instead of results. Because if you're focused on results, a lot of times for people that can be scary, because if you just focused on results with no past, it wouldn't be a problem. But if you think about the past and you go, well, I haven't gotten that good of results before, therefore I'm afraid I might not get results like that in the future, that's still focusing on the past. All right. So your job for today is future focused. So I don't care what you did yesterday, because there's nothing we can do about that. I don't care what you did last month. I don't care what you did last week. I don't even care what you did this morning before you got onto this huddle. Why? Because there's no way to influence that. Right? So I'm not saying we're not going to take it as wisdom. We're not going to take it as experience. We're not going to take it as lessons that we're going to be learning. But those are all already things that you have collected. But what I want to do is this, is I want each of you to kind of divorce yourself from your past and marry your future. Ooh, write that down. That was sexy. So, so divorce yourself from your past, and it's time to marry your future. And this is not one of those things, like you guys know, when you get married, you don't talk about your ex-wife, and they'll be like, well, this is what she used to do. All right. So no, marry your future, the future that you want, setting it up and deciding it the way that you want it to be, and letting that go. Now, for many of you, some of you guys are going to have a hard time because you're going to hold on to this sucker because you want to hold on to this past. All right. Because I got to have this baggage and I got to carry it around everywhere. And I got to show everybody all this baggage that I've got going on. And I'm just like, look at my baggage. My baggage is just as big as your bag. Look at all that. This is why I'm not where I want to be, because I've got all this stuff I got to carry around with me. And I'm just telling you, it's time to let it go. Time to let the baggage go. All right. I want you to go down to your local airport. I want you to check that stuff in. And I want you to say, I don't need this no more. I don't need the guilt. I don't need the frustration. I don't need the overwhelm. I'm going to let that stuff go. Why? Because it's just in my past. That stuff in my past. It's something that I did before. It's something that I held before. It's something that I believed before, but it's not something that I'm going to be taking with me anymore. And so some of that is just giving yourself a little bit of freedom and a little bit of permission to give yourself a little bit of grace. Right? So listen, I know that most of you are so bad to yourself. The reason why I know is because all of us are. We beat ourselves up about all the things and how, and very rarely do we have that cheerleader that we have. This is why it's so good to be in groups of people like this where we get reminded of it. But I want you guys to know that you're doing a great job. All right. Can you be doing more? Of course you can be doing more. So, but I wanted to give yourself a little bit of a permission to let go of whatever it is that has been kind of holding on to you. Right? And let's move on. Let's move forward. And tomorrow I'm going to be going into some more stories of some stuff that I've linked that can help us through this process. But let's focus on our future. So today, as soon as we get off this, what is it you're going to do that's going to make a positive impact on your future. And let's get excited about that. I am so excited about what's coming in July in Seacret, and I'm so excited about what's launching at our convention in August. So in August, we have our virtual convention, and the product lines that are launching, the programs that are launching in July are if you knew what was coming. So this is why it's so easy for me, because most of my days I'm thinking about what? The future. I'm thinking about what's coming next, about what products are coming. I'm thinking about what programs are coming. I'm thinking about what countries we're going to be in eventually. I'm thinking about all those different things, because if I spent my time thinking strictly about the present or even about the past, it would be easy for me to go, man, this is not the easiest time, I think, in anyone's life, being stuck in my house, dealing with all the things that we've got going on in our world. Yes, August 8th. So I want to admire you guys for all the things you guys are doing, the courage you guys have for doing this and showing up. But let's lead our groups and let's lead ourselves. And leadership is real simple. I heard it said a long time ago, leadership is lead your ship. So leading your ship is this ship right here, your mind first. So let's learn to redirect focus. And sometimes you might even physically do this where you're like, and nope, future focused. And just grab your head and physically move your head into a different direction to have kind of a physical way of changing your thinking into the direction. So when you find yourself falling back into thinking about the past too much, the past is a reference point for things to go, that's something that I did, but I'm going to be focused on where I'm going. And if we're all doing that, taking those steps in the right direction, I don't care how small the steps are. If I'm trying to get to the other side of the room and I'm making steps in that direction, I'm eventually going to get there. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning. So that was our daily huddle for today. Let's make Tuesday a great day. Jesse Max signing off, Phoenix, Arizona. Bye for now.